Question number 1. What is a globalization to you in a personal sense? How has it affected your current mindset, life situation, and the like?
For me personally, globalization is an ongoing process of change that is influenced by different cultures of various countries outside my own country. Like for me, example is Philippines. And when I watch movies like Korean movies, Thai movies, Japanese movies, I might like the cultures that is being shown in these movies. So when I go out, instead I'm going to do things that I usually do, I might now be doing things that is being influenced by their cultures. Like for example, instead of eating pancit canton, I might like eating samgyeopsal, ramyun, and using chopstick, because in Korea I have seen that that is their habit and they're using chopstick. So it affected and it influenced my mindset and lifestyle.
So, next, second questions. What do you think is the greatest challenge positive on regionalization and globalization in Philippines? And how can this challenge be addressed accordingly?
I think that the greatest challenge the Philippines has in terms of regionalization and globalization is the country's brain drain. When you ask a Filipino child what course it would like to have and where they would like to practice it, you probably heard that most of them wanted to go abroad. You see, these little children, little Filipino children, has this mindset of going abroad because they know that Philippines is a poor country. They might have seen this in movies, in medias, or they might as well be influenced by their own parents. Now let's go to adults, the ones who has careers. When you ask them also, they're probably also gonna answer that they wanted to go abroad. To be honest, me also, I wanted to go abroad because we know that Philippines has a very low salary and the Philippine government is not supporting their professional citizens well. So this challenge can be addressed when the Philippine government will support its professional citizens, support Filipino doctors, support Filipino researchers, Filipino astronauts, Filipino fishermen, agricultures, and the like, and also raise their salaries so that the Filipino citizens will rather stay in the Philippines than go abroad.
So, third question. What are the aspects that hinder Philippines from becoming a first world country, and why?
Just what I have said earlier in number 2, it is also one of the aspects that hinder Philippines from becoming a first world. But I also wanted to share with you this aspect, which is commonly advertised by the Philippine tourism, which is the cultural loss or support local buy Pinoy products. Because like for example, Philippines has this mindset of rather buy imported products, buy imported shoes, chocolates, support foreign artists, support foreign cultures, instead of supporting the country's own cultures or products. So how can Philippines become a first world country if its citizen doesn't support what it can do? So I think Philippines will become a first world country when its citizens will just support what Philippines can do.
And fourth question. As a Filipino youth of today, what can you contribute so that the Philippines will have a chance to be in the clusters of the global north countries? Expand your answer.
So as a Filipino youth, we all know that youth most of the youth has access to social media. So, as a Filipino youth, I wanted to support the goal of Philippines to become a first world country by encouraging the media or posting in Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and the like, that instead of posting nonsense things, I will post something of importance, and that is encouraging the media to support local products and buying Pinoy products. Because with this small step, this is a step that can become Philippines first world country. And also, I will encourage my family, because we all know that family is the basic unit of the society. So when my family is being encouraged and or persuaded to do the same, they will as well share this to their neighbors, to our neighbors rather, to our friends, family friends, and our loved ones. And with that small act, it can become big and become wholesome.
So, fifth question. What do you think are the major problems faced by leaders in the global community in terms of global governance? How do these issues affect you in a personal level?
I think that the problems that are being faced by global leaders before the year 2019 is the relationship between economy and global warming, because global warming is rapidly changing. But when 2019 came up to the present, I think that the major problem that global leaders are facing right now, is to eradicate the COVID-19 pandemic. In the word pandemic, all the countries in the globe or in the earth is affected. And because of this, UN, which is the United Nations, which it is an assembly of the leaders of the different countries, the leaders of different countries in the globe, with its Department of Health, to show the rules and regulations to different countries. And when these countries, like for example Philippines, learned about the different rules and regulations that UN has shown because of COVID-19 pandemic, the Philippine government will now direct it to the different aspects of its Philippine governance. Like for example, in Department of Education or CHED, or in DepEd, they will say that Philippines is not a COVID-free country. So they will say that face-to-face is now impossible, so we must not have a face-to-face classes. So I am being affected because I am myself a learner. I am a student. I am currently studying right now. So instead of going to school, I am now in my own home. I am doing online classes because we don't have face-to-face classes. But when these global leaders say that according to research, Philippines is now COVID-free, you can now have a face-to-face classes, then the Philippine government will tell it to the Department of Education, and Education will direct it to different schools that they can now have a pilot face-to-face classes. And that is how it's going to affect me, because as a student, I will now go to school, no more online classes, and I will now have a face-to-face classes. And that's how it affects me in a personal level.